So how has the Kindle changed my life? I know it might seem like a little bit of a ludicrous and out there sort of statement to say how one electronic device has completely changed my life. And although it mightn't be a huge game changer, it has made a massive difference in my life, especially around reading. So especially from a very young age, I wasn't much of a reader. In fact, I hardly had read at all. I think all the way up until my late teens, maybe even early 20s. You could probably count the number of books I'd read on one hand. So it wasn't a lot, aside from what we had to read at school and stuff throughout uni, so which I wouldn't really count as anything reading for leisure-wise. I'd always tended to take the lazier route and watch more media on TV, watch more films, play more video games. I'd never really given, I guess, reading as a whole the sort of respect I think it deserved. I never really gave it enough time. Always felt like it was a drag, it was going to be too difficult, it was maybe too boring. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago when I bought my first Amazon Kindle Paperwhite. I think it was just over 6 years ago now that I ended up picking that up. And to be honest, from when I got it over the next couple of years and up to now, it's made like a massive difference on how I view reading. It's improved my own reading habits. It's allowed me to read both more books on the Kindle itself and more physical books. And it's just made a huge difference, I think, in my life in terms of my work. So I've been reading a lot more books around marketing, digital marketing, storytelling, around the content side of things and writing. So that, I believe, even in the last year or so, has already started to make a huge difference in my work, in leisure time. I just think I've stumbled across so many great little series. Like the Samuel Bjork ones were fantastic thrillers. If you've never read them, definitely worth a read. It's just been something that's not only changed my life but opened my eyes a little bit more, and it's almost made me look back and regret all the years I've wasted not dedicating time to actually reading. And if it wasn't for picking up a Kindle, I don't even know if I would be here and reading today, to be honest. I think I'd probably be in that same position of maybe reading a book here or there over a year and probably just sticking more towards watching films and TV shows. But I even think it's just vastly improves your ability to write, understand, communicate with others. It just opens up so many doors for you throughout your life and career. And then, just to segue into how it has actually helped me. Taking out some few key points, and potentially if it could do the same for you. So maybe if you're in the same boat as I was in over the last decade or so, where you maybe didn't focus much on reading, maybe you don't read at all, and maybe it's something that you do feel like it would provide value, you do feel like it's something you want to get into, but you just haven't really taken that step, and it's always something you keep putting back, and possibly the Kindle could do for you what's done for me. Completely transformed your life and then made reading something that you truly, truly love. So I think one of the first things, and why I think the Kindle over everything else has made such an impact, is it just makes reading easy. It's convenient, it's accessible. If you see a book you like, you just go online, go onto Amazon. Vast majority of books you'll find will be available on there, to be honest, and largely they'll even be cheaper than most of your paperback book options as well. So it'll save you money. It's pretty convenient. You just click buy and then you can literally read it within a minute, and you can pick up your device. And breaking down that barrier of, oh, there's a book I want to read, I think that'd be quite interesting. And then having to go out, go to a bookshop, pick it up, get back, and that sort of stall in time, I always feel that it just creates a bit of resistance in terms of your reading, because by the time you've got through all that, the sort of joy to want to really pick up and read something almost fades away. So having that option just to pick it up, start reading, it just reduces all that friction and makes it so much easier. And then as part of that, it's portable. So a big one for me is when you go on holidays, I tend to a lot of the time try to travel quite lightly. And even bringing 1 or 2 books can take up quite a lot of room if you've just got like a little carry-on bit of luggage. And yeah, it can take up a lot of space. Whereas with pretty much most models of the Kindle, you can hold pretty much an entire library in just a small form factor device. So you can have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of books on you wherever you are, whether you're just nipping out, you might have an appointment, you might be going away to get your car service, go to the dentist, you might be going on a flight. And I feel like in those instances where I'd usually maybe just flick through my phone or listen to music, maybe play some video games, I tend to sway more towards just picking up the Kindle, reading a chapter or two, then putting it down. It just, having it there, it makes it so much easier to pick up and grab than maybe picking up a book or two. Maybe you pick up a book, bring it with you, you're not really in the mood to read it. Whereas the Kindle, I can switch between a couple books at a time, and I know if I'm in the mood for a certain book, I just read through it a little bit and potentially swap to another one. So it just simply makes reading that much easier. And sort of like tying in nicely with that, the next point for me is just finding the time to read. That was probably one of my big excuses when I sort of first started. And I really wanted to read more. I wanted to do it, but my excuse always was, I don't have the time. I'm working late, I get home late, I'm tired, I just want to watch TV, or by the time I've cooked dinner, I'm exhausted, I maybe just want to play some video games, do something that doesn't require as much energy. And just for me, like the Kindle makes that vastly easier. So like what I said before is you can have like a lot of different books on the go at the same time. So I could have maybe one book for that's work related, maybe another book around trying to improve something that I'm trying to look at, and then a few maybe fantasy books or thrillers. And just having them there and then makes it easier for me just to pick up and think, right, today I'll just read a page. And I cannot just switch between different books I'm enjoying and get into it. So it doesn't feel like such a drag, and I just think it's made it so much easier just to be able to swap between books, start building that habit really small. So I had started I was sort of taking it after reading, it was James Clear's Atomic Habits, and they talk about just make it easy, start the habit quite small and just build on it, or else link it to something else you're doing. So I'd sort of tied it in with like my nighttime routine. It was always there. I would just say I'll read one page. It becomes so easy, you can't really not do it. And then over time, you want to read more. It doesn't become this thing that you're forcing yourself to do, but it's actually something you look forward to every day. And because you've started off small, you just get used to it. You start picking away at it, and it naturally becomes a habit. It becomes something you want to do every day. And I think the Kindle's just made that 100 times easier, and just switching between books. If there's something I feel like it becomes a drag reading. In the past, that would have been, I'll leave it, I might not read for a week or another week, and it'll just keep adding on and on and on and on and on. Whereas at least with the Kindle, I find it easier just to swap between a few books. Then when I know I'm enjoying something, I can actually get into it and then keep swapping between. So it always feels fresh, especially when you're just starting out, trying to build that habit. It just makes it so much easier. And then I guess another core point for me is just choice, really. So yes, with physical books, you have all the choice in the world. But with the Kindle being tied in with the Goodreads app, it just makes it so much easier, I think, to find book recommendations, see what other people are reading. You maybe follow like influencers or YouTubers out there, see what they're reading, see if it's something you might be interested in. It's sort of, again, it reduces like that friction you have because you have Goodreads on the actual Kindle itself. It just makes it nice and easy to see, oh, based on what I'm reading, maybe they'll tell you book recommendations, and you see that, you buy that, you add that on to one you have next. Maybe you come across a book, you add it onto your Goodreads backlog. I find that makes it just a lot easier, because in the past, if maybe there was something I wanted to read, I might have tried to keep it in my brain, or if someone recommended something to me, I'd be like, well, that sounds interesting, and then I have like the memory of goldfish, and then a week later won't have a clue, and then it just sort of falls that habit away. Whereas now you pretty much have your phones with you no matter where you are, so just add it into the Goodreads app, add it onto your backlog, and maybe when you've got through a handful of books that you're reading on the Kindle, you almost have that additional backlog you can go to of other books you're interested in. So it just gives you more choice, and it makes it much easier to find books that you'll truly like fall in love with, or books that will provide a lot of value for you in your life, just by having those options, switching about, and having those recommendations available to you. Because when I take it back to when I tried to start, I always felt like potentially through school it in a little way put me off reading, because there's some of the books you start reading I personally didn't enjoy, and it links that like negative connotation between reading and something you don't like. Whereas the only thing was I was just reading books I didn't like, and by having that massive library and switching between books, it was made so much easier. I was able just to stumble in, find books I really loved, and realised it wasn't reading I didn't like, I was just finding the wrong books for me. So you might stumble across, people might have their top 10 books they've read in 2022, or like it could be related to your career. So say for example, I've seen a lot of videos around marketing books you should read, and recommendations for other people are always great, it's always good to have, but you almost need to find the books that are right for you and that you can get value off, and the books that you'll enjoy. So one person might enjoy a book, you might read it, start reading it and not enjoy it. You might stumble across something else, really enjoy it, and other people mightn't, but that's fine. It's just about finding the books you like, and I think, at least for me, the Kindle's made that just vastly easier than what I've had in the past, so it's just been another great reason not only to get it, but to build that habit of reading. If it is something that you want to do, you're maybe struggling with, or you're pushing it back, or you're making up excuses, or you're busy, and then you just keep pushing it back, and you wouldn't want to get to the point where you're at the end of your life and you're thinking, I just really wish I had read more. So the Kindle just, hopefully, like it has for me, it'll make it a lot easier for you to just pick up that habit, and then hopefully it'll be something you enjoy. Maybe it isn't, and at least you've tried, but I found it incredibly helpful for that. So for me, I know it sounds completely absurd just to say how this little device has completely changed my life, but I really feel it has. It's already made such an impact on my life. It's made me connect more with reading. I'm enjoying it a lot more. I'm getting a lot more value for books. I personally feel like I can communicate a lot better. I always felt like quite a lot of an introvert. I was always shy around people. That's still there. I still think I have a long way to go, but even my ability to communicate, I believe, has vastly improved with other people. And I think a lot of that comes down to reading, and a lot of that comes down to how that habit's built from the Kindle. And then I take it to my own career and the things I've learned from books I've read there that's been vastly helpful, and just so sort of opens your eyes to how much more you have to learn and you can learn from books. And then on the other side, just the entertainment value. I've read so many books that I've just sort of fallen into the story. It's just been incredible. You almost lose yourself. You never think you could read and read and read for hours and hours and hours, but you just get lost with the characters, lost with the story. And that in itself has just been almost priceless for me. So I guess if you're in the same boat as me in the past, you want to either kickstart your reading again or start afresh, but you've never started or you've never had the time, the Kindle might actually be the device that kickstarts your love for reading, and may in fact change your life as well, like it has for me. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. All the best. Bye.